They had a contract with them then.
Yeah.
Apparently, they can contract specific procedures and tests with providers.
Mm-hmm.
And my specific test is not part of that contract.
Wow.
But I'd never heard of this company. They're called Evicor, by the way.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this company before in my life. This third-party company. So I did say to the woman on the phone that you're going to eat your words because I'm going to call the Burger King and make sure it's covered. Mm-hmm. She was like, what? And I was like, I'm just calling an arbitrary third-party company. They work for me, and they get to approve my shit.
Yeah.
She was like, what are you talking about? In my head, it all made sense.
Yeah, of course.
But I was just going on a rant.
Question.
Yeah.
Who had a better refereeing season so far? Michael Oliver or Jimmy Vardy?
That's pretty good.
Vardy. And hey, to all of you, Shore Billy included, all of you, allow me to drive the bus.
Yeah, don't bury the lead.
Same thing. No, Graham, I say the same thing you. We're going to get there, but we're going to talk about other stuff about that game first. We're going to get there. Believe in me that I will get you there, and I will get you there beautifully.
Will James Trafford be at Newcastle next season?
Could be.
Do we get to watch Graham do a shot? Like, they're all excited.
Oh, I know. You do get to watch Graham do a shot, but you have to wait to Oso that happened because their game was an Oso game.
Yep.
So the last thing I wanted to say, and then we'll go ahead and do the show, was I did a little something that I've never done before, because typically this whole day doing May Day, it is making sure Mel has whatever she needs, right? And we do have an extra pair of hands for physical labor that helps with everything as well.
Jesus.
Yeah. Cousin Danny, he looks like Jesus, so we just call him Jesus all the time. And
Gotcha.
he's LDS, so it's blasphemous as hell that we call him Jesus, and he still lets us call him Jesus all the time.
Well,
he's like, hey, sup. Like, he rolls with it.
All right.
But I know Mr. Catholic over here would go on a tangent. We're not going to.
It's not a tangent. It's just facts, you know?
It's okay. Apparently, it's just a joke that Trump put himself in Pope gear. It's fine.
So, anyways, what I was going to say is this day typically ends around 10 o'clock in the morning. Mel has been up for approximately 30 hours at this point, sometimes even longer, depending on the year, right? She's physically exhausted.
Still
She's
recovering.
done. Her body's done. She's emotionally done. It's all over, right? And I love her, but she's under a lot of stress. She gets a little snippy. Fortunately, who she gets snippy with is me, which I can handle for the most part. Everybody else she's cool with, but me she'll get barky with, and but also after this 30-hour run, I've kind of had my fill of my wife, and I'm getting her home and I'm putting her to bed, right? That's what we do. Now, normally when we're doing this, I tend to take the photos while, I kind of snap a quick photo of everything before we put it up and stuff like that. This time, it just wasn't in the cards. We were under a pretty decent time crunch, and we were just trying to get everything done. And she had to be at multiple places at certain times, so getting her around all that was important as well.
We were fine until we're waiting for people to put out tables and do this.
That definitely affected us.
And I'm like looking at my clients going, y'all are one of 14 now. Come on now.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like you didn't know this was coming either.
Yeah,
It's like when I was working on your piece had my full attention. Yeah. And then I was working on somebody else's piece. And guess who got my full attention?
Right. So I get her home. She takes a shower. She's still a little jacked, so she sits back here, gets a little fresh air, finally gets to bed, right? And so she's in bed. I'm laying next to her, and she falls asleep. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I go ahead and I take a shower, and I put myself together, and I head out. And I went down to downtown Annapolis during the day when
it's crazy, isn't it?
When it is, quote, May Day, when everybody's walking
when
the
it's
streets,
the busiest,
looking at everything. And I decided to kind of take it in for myself, just as a silent party, just walking around.
A creepy bald man.
Going and looking at all of her arrangements and taking pictures of each one. And then, just kind of standing there when there's someone around, just kind of going, oh my God, this is beautiful, and just saying that kind of stuff. And right before they walk away, I go, I'll let the designer know you thought it was great. And that's all I said. But it was just me getting an opportunity to see my wife's work without
through the lens of other people's reactions.
Right. And also just seeing it through my own eyes, not we're fucking working like a wedding. It's always we're fucking working. Like you don't get a chance to just stop, look back and go,
Well, listen, let me tell you something.
That's real pretty.
When I built that chuppah, I did. I
Yeah.
took a step back and looked at it.
Well, that's how you roll. It was a damn fine.
You got to
chuppah
stop
we
and
built.
smell the flowers, bro.
That thing was fucking huge.
But it was really lovely to go and see, and I posted it on Facebook. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, please check it
Jake's
out.
wife came down, Carissa.
Yep, Carissa came down. It was great to see her.
Carly and Julia went down with the kids on Friday and
Oh
saw
no,
everything.
Carissa came down with part of my posse.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
and it was just very
part
lovely.
of my promenade, I should say.
And just a Mel, for the whole internet to hear, you are insanely talented.
Thank you.
I am profoundly proud of the work you did, and it was so beautiful to see the way that it actually affected just people walking down the street, that they were taken by it. You
It's
know,
so unexpected to
Yeah.
see something like that right there on Church Circle.
and some people, it was, the attitude of like some people are like flower people, and they're like pointing out the types of flowers, and then other people are just like, ooh, that's pretty, and then some people are looking at it like art. Really, the one that got the most reaction from people walking by was Osteria.
Osteria was
big.
the
That was the
fucking
one
best.
on the cart. That was
Yeah.
just a giant. He said he wanted it big and he wanted it sexy.
I want something big and sexy.
And that's what she did. So it was really, really, really beautiful. And
I realize the camera can only see half of you. I'm like,
okay.
I should fix that.
so it was truly lovely, and it was great to take a brief moment and look at it from that lens, because it's something that I never do. And just love you very much, beautiful.
Thank
it was
you.
amazing.
I appreciate it. I love you too.
So let's do a show, everybody.
That sappy shit.
Finally.
All right, we're clear on that.
Fucking pricks. Trying to be kind to my wife.
All I can say is, Taylor, there is a huge
Oh, Jesus, Taylor.
nugget in sound check for you to have
as
fun
soon
with.
as you hear it, you will have a lot of fun with it. I got to decide whose intro I want to do today.
Just do the old, like, who can see this thing, and don't let my wife see it.
Wow, Shorebilly got really close. Oh, look, a whole ass Houston. That's funny. That's
is.
so funny.
It is funny.
Shorebilly, you have no idea how funny that is.
All right, we ready to do a show, kids?
Yeah, I'm good. That's a throwback, that.
Yeah, it is.
Hold on. Sorry.
This is Whiskey Dix, and you're listening to the DU Football Show. Football!
I thought that was fitting because there was some fucking football this weekend.
Yeah, there was.
And it was a bunch of games that it shouldn't have been football.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? That screams the intensity of a man that would actually try to finish an eighth.
Do love it. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, fully prepared with a roll of toilet paper, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. How you doing over there, Mr. Graham?
Not great.
Think we're fucking playing.
I've got a tremendous amount of mucus coming out of my nose. And so I came prepared.
Welcome to my world.
You know, prepare. What
Won't
do they say?
you come on in.
Poor preparation promises piss poor performance. Is that what it is?
I
right?
believe that's what it is.
And
Yeah.
so that's why you brought toilet paper?
It's like a blow me nose.
Oh, I thought it was for the piss poor.
No. What? I'm talking about my nose pissing out with snot.
And, of course, on the ones and
What a soft transition for the first time this year.
on
Something's
the
definitely
ones
soft.
and twos, hitting the buttons and doing everything, and also very much happily married for 18 years.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, it was a nice one.
My producer,
while it
our
lasted.
producer, and my lovely bride, producer Mel. How you
Oh
doing
my
over there,
God. To
producer Mel?
think that we've been doing the DU football show for 11 of those.
7.
I said what I said.
I also can't deal with any more sappy shit, all right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is the gin binge.
Yeah. And we're gonna get to the. What is this about trusting my motherfucking?
There's questions in the chats.
Okay, well, we will get to it. Let there be anticipation. Mel,
build
when
up
you
the
need
tension,
to,
man.
there is more gin and there is tonic and limes in the fridge because I am that prepared for this shit. Why don't you all just trust my fucking instincts?
That was my gin. I brought the extra gin.
Yeah,
that was me
I-
being prepared,
yeah,
actually.
Well, and not like I don't have a fucking closet
And
full
I
of
brought
gin
the
directly behind you.
refrigerator, so that was me being prepared.
Hey, good job with limes, bud.
We're recorded at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Sure, it's at sad fat man on Instagram.
And in more ways than you know. In more ways than you know.
It's, of course, at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
Excellent. Very good. We did get an email from Keith. I'm going to just paraphrase it real quick. He did a Sam's Derby and was very bullish on it, thinking that it would hit, and both legs missed. So, again, I say, welcome to my world. Won't you come on in?
Yeah.
Sam, myself, both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So is the red-blooded Americans we are. We vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. For those of you new to listening to us, we obviously do Whiskey Advocates top 20 list every year. That list concluded last week. And when that concludes, we move our attention towards white spirits. And it's now what time of year?
It's just about springtime. Which
Gin
means
binge.
it's the gin binge.
We all three of us here love gin,
Yes.
love gin and tonics, and we decide to go on a full assault of nothing but G&Ts for the rest of the season. So that's what we'll be drinking every single show the rest of the way.
Exactly right. So tonight we've got Hendrix. This is their newest line extension. This is the Hendrix Oasium. We got in such a limited quantity to begin with into my company that I had to buy this sample, which is why it is pretty much gone now.
Yep.
From the Cabinet of Curiosities, they say this on the back label about it. Hendrix Master Distiller Leslie Gracie traveled to a desert oasis for inspiration. If this isn't first world problems, I don't know what is. After a game of camel polo,
Jesus.
she was captivated by a lush paradise of aromatic herbs and bright fruits. This was no mirage. It inspired her to create Hendrix Oasium, a curious oasis of exquisite flavor, tantalizingly enjoyed with cucumber and soda. For me, I get a shit ton of tangerine and a boatload of basil. And that's why I wanted you to try it neat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is fucking exceptional.
Try some of it neat there, Mel.
It is absolutely. I obviously already had some neat, which is why you're not seeing me drink it now. I sell this brand, and it is awesome. Half of that sample bottle was me.
Oh, yeah. That is exceptional. My goodness. Yeah, big, and it's juicy tangerine, not so much tangerine peel, because the juniper already brings the bitter, and then you think of things like, Cussy Spark, things of that nature, Grains of Paradise. That's going to bring certain bitter elements to it already. So really, they kind of went more of the ripe sweetness of the fruit, and then something like basil, which is also, again, big and sweet, that really has a great contrast against each other. I'm about to try it as a G&T.
That's awesome. Kind of tones down the little bit of vegetableness that's there and allows the fruit to stand out a little bit more. It's delightful. It's fucking awesome. They knocked it out of the park again. There are very few of these that have missed. I think I spoke once. We had it on here, the Amazonia that was in the travel only.
Yeah.
It was fine, but it was so vegetal, it was hard to drink. You know,
I remember that.
I could get one down as like an aperitif, but there was no way you were drinking more than one of those cocktails.
Yeah,
it was so vegetal.
The rest of them are all hits.
And you wonder what, that's the only one that never made it to retail. It was all travel and then went away.
Yeah, this as a G&T, it actually really kind of dials down the quinine of the tonic, that it's almost kind of almost feels like a citrus vodka and soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a little bit of a ways, it's that kind of refreshing. You could tell it's still gin, right?
Yeah.
But it has that kind of vibe to it.
Exactly. Very, very good.
Producer Mel, what do you think of it? No, you're a gin girl.
I like the lemon. I like a little lemony to it as well, probably from the basil. Very soft in the drink. Mine went down really fast and very soft, up neat.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was lovely. That's really, really
And I
good.
should mention as well, 86.8 proof on this one.
Got it. And normal, like 35 on the shelf typically?
No, the line extensions are wholesale about that price. So you're going to be looking closer to $42 to $45.99.
Okay, fair enough.
That sort of
That's
range.
right. Yeah, it was the regular Hendrix that's normally about 35 on the shelf,
Yes.
right? You know, depending
Yep.
on the deal they buy.
These
and
all
stuff
build into the deal, but they don't take a discount
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
because they're LTOs, excuse me.
Right, of course.
Limited time offers for those that don't speak the lingo.
When did this one come out? Was this a this year release?
Yep, this is about a month ago, a month and a half ago it came out. And
sold out of it like that.
well, yeah, at first we only got about 27 cases in to begin with, and they're all 6-packs. So
Wow,
a couple of my stores buy them as soon as they hit.
Right.
So I sent those out immediately when I saw it, and then went to one of my pet accounts and bought one for myself, and then sold, a few more that way, because I did taste my stores on it.
Yeah.
But now we've got ample inventory, and we got more coming in next month. So the rest of the year should be available everywhere,
Oh, that's
as
lovely.
long as you have a good salesman in your area.
Very good. And what else should we always do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to drink responsibly.
There we go.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And happy anniversary again.
Oh, that was a bad one. Let's try that again. That's still a bad one.
Yeah, still not great. I think it's these cups are too dense. Mel, cheers.
One might say you're too dense.
It's like hitting sticks together in childhood music class. You remember those, like the rhythm keeper people? That's what it sounds like.
You
terrible.
go ahead and keep talking about hitting sticks together. They're killer. Whatever floats your boat. For no good reason, we are going to open with 3 matches that had a ton of goals, general shithousery, and despite really having fuck all to play for. Leicester City 2, Southampton 0, Everton 2, Ipswich 0, Brentford 4, Manchester United 3. Well, we'll get to it, right?
Yeah.
And I know anyone that watched this game is waiting for us to talk about it, and we'll get there. The Foxes finally score at home after not scoring in 9. The Foxes get a win after losing 9 straight at home. We forgot. It was Southampton voucher time, right?
Yeah, I didn't
And-
forget. I put my money on Leicester. Remember I told you the VAR. Now I said over 2.5, and there was a goal disallowed in the game.
Right.
But I had for each side actually. But I said that the goal scorer markets were too far in advance. It wouldn't let me put money on Vardy, but I told you I wanted to
Yep.
because I knew he was going to score
And
because
he
Southampton are
scored.
shit. And he
Now-
opened the scoring.
Now one single goal away from scoring 200 for Leicester before he heads out. And let's face it, everybody's rooting for that.
100%.
Everybody's rooting.
He's going to go down as their best ever player, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
By
He won-
far.
and he won him a title.
Well, that's exactly in an FA Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously it was Yuri Tilleman's goal, but he was there.
Yeah,
and he
but
did a
that-
lot of work for it.
But that title is on the back
Oh yeah,
of Jamie Vardy.
and his
Yeah.
phenomenal contribution
Yeah.
in terms of goals. Remember that season he scored 11 straight and broke his manager's record.
Yep, exactly it. So the Saints are now looking dead in the eye at being the worst team or tied for the worst team.
Yeah.
And it does not get easier.
Oh, no, it does not.
They welcome City.
Uh-huh.
They go to Everton for, I don't know, the final match at Goodison Park. Do you think Everton might be fucking up for it?
Yeah.
And then they play Arsenal.
Right. And we will either be preparing for, which they're bad enough would be a great confidence boost, preparing for the Champions League final in that manner, or we will have just gotten knocked out by PSG in recent memory, and we'll find this is an opportunity to beat the fuck up on somebody and take our anger out.
If they were going to get any points, this was the match to do it against a team who, again, hasn't won in 9 home games, has only won 2 games since the manager has taken over for this club.
He won more with Manchester United in 4 matches he was in charge there.
And haven't scored in 9 fucking games at home. Like, if ever there was an opportunity for Southampton to do it, and they gave nothing but a putter. It was just dog shit.
Because they are, though. I mean, that's just what it is. They just are.
Yeah.
They're that bad.
Really are.
And their ownership isn't great. They don't have a shit ton of money. I'm not sure how it's or when it's going to get better for them, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Because what they went with management is they went with a system guy, and what they should have done was gone with a culture change at the club, because they had sold all of their youth players, just all of them, and then ended up putting them in a scenario in which they just had to go with whatever the next manager wanted to do. And that manager style with that club was not ready for the Premier League.
No.
Not at all. They got manhandled. Now,
I mean, he ends up being that 2 of the top 3 that had managed 10 games in the Premier League, they end up being 2 of the top 3 worst managers.
oh yeah.
And you can't imagine this caretaker that's been doing it now since that guy got fired is much better off.
No.
They may have 3 of the top 4.
Yeah.
It's that piss poor.
Now, what we're all waiting for, the only thing we really want to talk about. Now, we'll get to Vardy. But the little subtle thing that everybody overlooks, Jordan Ayew, who took out the ref with the cross-check hockey block across his head that knocked him on the ground, right? That's about the most Jordan Ayew thing Jordan Ayew could ever Jordan Ayew, right? Like,
So
he clocked his ass.
there's 2 parts of this. And now things look different in slow motion, of course. I didn't think it was that bad for the referee to go off.
Right.
I thought the referee could have returned.
Yeah.
Also found out it is the referee's debut.
Oh.
It was his first match in charge of a Premier League game.
That's a hell of a note.
Yeah.
That man's head might be on a swivel from now on when he
Should
gets
do.
center duty.
I don't think it was intentional. I think Jordan Ayew probably could have done a little bit more to get out of the way, but I think may have sold himself an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And but honestly, I really don't think it was that bad. Now that you never know. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Also, hitting the ground too. You don't know how hard his head hit the ground when he went down. Because sometimes it's not the actual hit; it's how you fall that does a fucking number on.
Well, I always point back to, you remember the Liverpool player Djibril Cissé, and French player.
Yep.
I remember there was a game. I can't remember if he was on midfield or halfway between midfield and the box, but either way, he was making a diagonal run and went to turn the corner and just got brushed on his leg.
Right.
But his leg was planted as he was turning to go, and it really did not look bad at all in full time and slow time. But when they showed it in slow motion, this is a long time ago, and you can Google it, Djibril Cissé leg break, his fucking leg just snapped in half.
Wow.
It just hit like on a pressure point
And just
and his leg was dangling. Like
Yeah.
it snapped in half completely.
Yeah.
And it was no more than this kind of brush.
Yeah.
It just caught him on a pressure point while his leg was planted. So you got to give these people the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Because, that obviously is a catastrophic example, but that's the example I always point to, which is why you do have to take some of these things seriously, and especially head injuries as well.
So,
like you said, there's the added thing of possibly hitting your head on the ground, too.
So he goes down, and
he's writhing. I mean, he's rolling around, holding his face.
The game is still going on because who stops play on a game?
Well, the referee does, of course.
And the referee is on the ground rolling around.
Yeah, looking at Tweety Bird.
So what does Jamie Vardy, I'm sorry, call him by his Christian name. What does Jamie fucking Vardy, the king of all shithousery, do?
Now, this is the problem. This is where I fall disappointed. Mm-hmm. Because Jamie Vardy does what a good shithouse should do, and he takes the referee by the hand, grabs the whistle that's attached to his wrist, and blows the whistle to stop play. Mm-hmm. I think he was genuine. And this is where it become to get disappointed. Mm-hmm. Because there's two things that could have happened. He could have turned around, because Southampton were kind of on a break. Yeah. He could have been boisterous towards them, which would have been funny, and made it more shithousey. But what he really should have done, and this is where the legend of Jamie Vardy may be bigger than the man.
Okay.
He should have taken a card out of the referee's pocket and carded his own teammate. That's what he should have done. He should have shown Jordan Ayew a yellow. And it would have that would have been amazing.
I got to tell you, what I actually liked was the reaction of it, because he bends over, holds up his arm, just kind of like, how a ref in wrestling would hold up Hulk Hogan's arm, and dead guy's arm, down, right? He holds up his arm, he blows the whistle, and he walks away with like this look on his face of like, what? Why didn't any of you fuckers do this?
Yeah, and just dropped his arm, but also didn't check on him, didn't say anything to him either.
Look at him like, why did I have to bend over and blow the whistle, you fucking assholes? Why did any of you think to do that? Why are we still playing the game? The man's on the ground, and walked off like into the sunset, as if to drop the mic and go, I scored my goal. I've done something amazing. I will be remembered forever. Farewell.
Good night. Yeah.
Just walked away.
That's me done today, boys. Yeah. It was. I mean, it was still brilliant, but it just, come on.
And nothing else really matters. Nothing else, like, that happens, and you're just like, that leads the show. The game, it doesn't even matter that it's the two worst teams. It doesn't matter that it's two teams going down. It's just, Jamie Vardy
that
blew
gets
the
talked about.
Yeah. It's fucking it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's very good. I have a lot of time for it still.
All right. Now, want to say, before we get into the Everton match, went up to Fed Hill, kind of the side that's closer to where like the ports are and everything of Fed Hill, to eat, which is egg rolls and tacos.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Mike Leeds, who also owns Barflies, that's one of his places.
Okay.
And got to go in, and that is the Baltimore Tractor Boys bar. And of course, Chris, who was on the show, wanted to make sure I got up and hung out and saw a game with them at their bar and supported them. And great fucking crew, along with him, pardon me, Spike, owner and runs the bar there as well. Great fucking dude. And also worth mentioning too, a gentleman by the name of Ben, who this is the shit you love, right? Ipswich supporter. Why? His ma and his grandma are from Ipswich.
Yeah, there you go.
That's his fucking club. That's where his family's from. That is his fucking club. Period. End of discussion. And had a great time. There were a bunch of other people there too. Everybody kind of lives in that part of the neighborhood, and kind of everybody was just like, okay, yeah, this is our fucking team now.
Nice.
This is it. This is who we're supporting, right?
Sweet. I like that.
Because a couple of our own are already big fans, so we're going to be big fans too. That's who
I
we're
like that.
Great setup, kind of like Dark Horse, tons of TVs, so they put on all kinds of different games. They had the O's in Huddersfield over in the corner.
Oh, nice
as well, which was nice.
I'd have been huddled in that corner.
The big thing I want to mention for them is the final game of the season. They will be obviously there for the West Ham match. And for those of you who know the Maryland Irons and know people like our boy Scotty, know that Scotty is a fucking lunatic in all the right ways. I mean, I say that word with complete sincerity. He is the kind of lunatic you fucking love. They're over in Fells Point.
Yep.
They are at halftime, leaving their bar, getting on a ferry, going across the harbor, and invading the bar for the final game of the season. Spike also said they got enough TVs, they will have every matchup as well.
Nice.
So, like I said, the West Ham crew are fucking phenomenal.
They're always good fun.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of the DC crew. They got a couple of guys that are.
Well, I'm talking specifically about the Baltimore crew.
The Baltimore crew is fucking incredible.
They're always good fun.
Love them. I went to go see the Everton West Ham match with them, and you're always welcome, and just have fun, and everybody talks shit, and it's a great time.
Yeah.
But them going across the harbor, getting a ferry when they could all just be there at the start of the match and just invade. No, why do that? Let's get on a ferry.
You got to start at your own home.
Go across.
Yeah, you got to start at your own home. You owe it to that bar that's hosting you.
It's fucking incredible. It's so fucking incredible. Now, somebody forgot to tell Everton and Ipswich that this game didn't matter.
Somebody forgot to tell George Hurst this game didn't matter.
Motherfucking 8 yellow cards in this match. It was feisty.
There were some.
I mean, feisty.
There were a couple of main protagonists, though. Let's say.
Oh hell yeah!
And George Hurst being the worst one of them, in my opinion.
Liam Delap as well.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And Branthwaite and
yep.
O'Brien were definitely because I mean, come on,
They were getting, but them two are young.
You're gonna push around a big young kid. What are they gonna do? They're gonna
give it to you back, right? Yeah, 100%. So it was you're right. Absolutely, it was lively. It was chippy. And this, which we'll come on to a couple of other games this weekend, this was a good advert for the Premier League.
Absolutely.
You've got a relegated team and one that struggled for a while that kind of picked it up when they needed to. There's nothing to play for either team, and this is how they're going. Well, hell yeah.
And especially Everton to go up 2-0 and then try to push for a third, which was probably against their better judgment. They probably just should have sat back the rest of the first half and just gone, see it out, go in 2-0 up. But they were pushing for a third, which the second goal from Dwight McNeil was phenomenal, only to be completely outdone by Enciso on the other end.
I don't think it was completely outdone. I think they were goals of equal quality.
Enciso's was just ridiculous.
So, first off, they were bookended by very routine headers.
Oh, yeah.
Well done. Good job. You got yourself a goal. Congratulations.
Beto ran through the middle, got a header. Ball got snuck across. Hirsch hit it in with a head.
But it always was going to be Hurst because of all the shithousing.
Oh, of course it was.
So, fine.
Of course it was.
Great. Whatever. It's about these two goals in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight McNeil had so much bend and swerve on that ball. He sat the goalkeeper down.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper moved back and forth 2 times, and before just rocking back on his haunches.
Yeah, just kind of fell
just
back.
Like,
and
what are you going to do?
There you go.
And then Enciso hits this ball. I mean, the amount of dip on this thing to get under the crossbar was fucking amazing.
Because Pickford, even with his tiny arms, was above the crossbar.
Was there.
It was his arm was there.
I mean, it's like Full Metal Jacket. I mean, that if it's the fan standing behind the goal, the bearded guy, that put his hand over his mouth. You see him? Mm-hmm. It was Everton supporter.
Yeah,
and he just goes,
Yep.
If that guy had a hose and Enciso's ball was a golf ball, he'd have sucked it through the garden hose. Like, that's how tight of a space that he got it into
to
manage to fit it under the crossbar between Pickford's hand.
Enciso scores the goal, goes running to the goal to pick up the ball to bring it back because, whenever you're down 2-0 and you score one, that's what everybody does.
Yeah, because you want to get the game started again and keep going and ride the momentum, especially away from home.
He got stopped by Pickford, who gave him
a handshake,
a pat on the back of the head, and a handshake as if to be like, good job and good fucking job, mate. Like,
well, there's nothing he could do. I mean, literally, he was at full stretch, and 9.9 times out of 10, that goal saved. It was that inch perfect.
Yeah, just completely insane. Now, the one thing that is worth mentioning, now this really would make a very subtle difference in the standings. Everton would be holding Crystal Palace's normal 12th place if this was the case. They have dropped 10 points this season.
From winning positions?
From 2-0 up.
Oof.
Yep. So you think about there was the loss to Bournemouth, the loss to Villa, the draw to Manchester United, and the draw now to Ipswich.
So, like you said at the end of the first half, I'm noticing a couple of teams, and it seems to be everybody in this sort of 10th through 14th sort of range. Because we'll come on to Brentford United, obviously. We'll close out the segment. But briefly, Brentford were up 4-2, right? And they were still pushing into the box in the 89th minute.
Up 4-1, and then they made it 4-2. But yeah,
But
you're talking about the end of the match,
in the 89th minute, 90th minute, Embuemo had possession of the ball between the 18-yard box and the sideline.
Yeah.
And opted to attack the player and put a cross in. Go to the fucking corner. Like, what are you doing?
See out the clock. See out the clock.
It seems to be the sort. Maybe you can take it up to 9th through 14th, but for whatever reason, these teams just either lack the football IQ or know that their defense is so shit that we really should have that third, or we could be in trouble. Instead of just playing sensibly.
Yeah. Well, I also think, too, when you look at some of these teams as well, particularly in the case of Everton, you can tell Moyes is trotting out new things. He wants to see what he has in the team.
True. And he's able to do it because they're safe, right? He's able to look and go play for your spot today.
Yeah, he did a front line. The attacking four was Beto, Njai, Alcaraz, and McNeil. And he put McNeil, who's a left footer, on the right-hand side because he wanted to see if he could come in and put one in.
He wanted to see if he could be Everton's Jared Bowen, yes.
And he did. He did score that goal. That's how he scored that goal, was cutting in from the right-hand side, and it was onto his left foot, right?
It's Saka. That's what he should be doing.
But also, those four guys, like, they've got engines. They're not the greatest fucking defenders. So when you take out Decore or you take out Jack Harrison, like, Patterson isn't really the best right back in the world. And normally you have Harrison in front of him, covers a lot of fucking mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly you have McNeil in front of him playing on a side of the field that he ain't used to normally playing.
Yep.
Doesn't work out so well. So I think that's a lot of it too.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff there
right now.
There's a lot of stuff there that people very much undervalue those relationships. They just think, oh, system. Everybody should know their jobs, right? Well, Ben White and Saka played basically a season and a half together, unadulterated, because, when Jurrien Timber joined, he immediately did his ACL.
Yeah.
Well, when Jurrien Timber comes in, the beginning of the season, it's almost like a new signing because he played one match for us last year before the ACL happened. And you then run into the situation where he's got to learn an entire new thing, right? A new... Right. Where's he going to go? How far wide is he going to be? Are they going to make the same run? Is he going to make the same pass? Does he like passing to feet? Does he like passing to space? There's a whole relationship that has to develop. And as you say, from the defensive side, how much does this guy help me? How far does he track back? How fast does he track back? Does he cut inside all the time?
Right.
And cover me rather than chasing the player, which means I have to step inside and cover that run while he tracks back. Like, there's all of these various things, and it can absolutely fuck with a side that's normally very solid on that side. It fucks with that chemistry and can very easily throw things off kilter.
And couple that side up until the Tarkovsky injury was O'Brien out there with Harrison in front of him.
Exactly.
So now it's Patterson, who isn't the best defender as a right back. He's more of a wing back, get up the field kind of guy.
Yep.
And then you put, McNeil, who feels very comfortable on the left, but probably not as comfortable on the right. And that's a combination you haven't used even once this season. So
no, well,
and Enciso had a field day because of it.
But he was, while McNeil was out, he was putting Njai a lot on the left, who is right-footed.
Yes. Well, like you said, that's what you want to be doing, like you said.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, for all the great Manchester United teams and how progressive Sir Alex Ferguson was as a manager, the first person to do this was Arsene fucking Wenger. Robert Perez on the right.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, Robert Perez on the left. Because when you cut in, you now have created an angle for yourself at goal that makes you an extra striker.
Mm-hmm.
You open up the angle, right? And now it's all the rage with everybody. Look at Riyad Mahrez when he played for Leicester and at City. So Pep did it. Claudio Ranieri did it. Yeah, every manager does this now where they play left footers on the right and right footers on the left. Now you lose a little bit in quality crossing, obviously, because they're doing it with their off foot.
Mm-hmm.
But you're creating an extra attacking element when they cut inside. Arjen Robben did it for Bayern, for Chelsea all the time, and Frank Ribery, same thing. I mean, it became all the rage across the world. I reckon Wenger started it. That's all I want to say.
All right. Well, there's your Arsenal moment.
Yep.
I should have played the Mike Rice intro.
Le
A
professeur.
drinking game. Sam makes a good point. Graham makes it all about Arsenal.
It's true, but I think that really is the way forward for Everton. You know what I didn't care for was Njai as a number 10.
Yeah.
I was not happy with that,
Have Alcaraz be the 10.
and I had a lot of money on that happening, and the only leg I missed was Njai to have a shot on target, which he did in 7 consecutive games playing on the left side.
Yeah, he did not have a very good game.
So that annoyed the fuck out of me.
This match was not as close as the scoreline said it was. It was all Bs. It was all Bs, and United was opportune a couple of times.
Yeah.
That was really it.
Yeah. Luke Shaw's been out so injured so long, he forgot who he played for.
Oh, yeah.
He had one of the greatest near misses I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't know what the fuck the goalkeeper, where was he going? That was weird.
Yeah.
He like way overran the flight of the ball, and Luke Shaw played it inside of him anyway.
Yeah.
Luckily, the spin of the ball took it wide of the post. But then a few minutes later, he did score that own goal finally.
He did. He got that own goal.
Did exactly what he wanted to do. For those of you that are listening to the show as Manchester United fans, and Luke Shaw fans specifically, I know you're probably new to football. You've just heard this name before, and you've heard he's a very good left back. You're probably a Call of Duty fan. An own goal is friendly fire. It's not a bandwagon if you don't win anything, by the way. Just so you know.
Kevin Schad.
I've been sitting on that joke for days.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
even
know.
tell you that.
I loved it. That's why I let you go with it.
Thank you very much.
Now, Kevin
Thank you for your
Schad
indulgence.
with a brace. We'll get into it in the next
I
segment.
like to call
Scored
him
one
Kevin
there, too.
throwing shade.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'll tell you what, we talked about it earlier in the year, but it bears repeating. If they're able to hold on to all three, that front line is really, really fucking good.
Oh, yeah. The only issue I'd say now, Mbeumo and Wisa have seemed to kind of fix it this season. They have done a fair amount of stuff in the same game, but when Wisa hasn't scored, Mbeumo has. They've done a lot of sharing of that load as
They
well.
assist each other a ton as well.
Right.
Also, staying fucking healthy. It's helped
True.
that they're both, for the most part, healthy this season.
But also the last 2 seasons, I think you saw them go on streaks, and there was a lot more things that happened in the same game last year.
Yeah.
So they would both score 10 times, but then there'd be 15 games where neither of them did a thing.
Right.
They've been sharing it a bit more, and maybe not that extreme. I'm just
I get what you're
but
saying. though.
they've been sharing that load a lot more between them. So when one's off, one's scoring like that. But then you also have these goals from Kevin Schade coming in that they didn't really have previously.
Yeah.
And he sort of announced himself on the first day of the season, if I remember correctly, with a great goal that we had never really seen him before, or maybe just saw flashes.
He was hurt a lot last season too when they signed him. He had scored a couple when he was first there, and then he got hurt, and then he scored a couple at the end when he came back, but never really saw a full body of work from him.
Right, but they have figured out how to be, at least Mbeumo and Wisa have figured out a way to be a bit more consistent. And Shade's goals sprinkled in here or there have Brentford in a fairly decent position again this season.
We'll talk about it a touch more in the next segment, but they're in a very, very good position right now, depending on how everything shapes out with Europe, which is my final thought on United. And then let's go ahead and end this okay, we understand that all the attention is on making sure you make it to the Europa final. I understand that, and you're going to put some players on the bench and you're going to rotate and you're going to do those type of things, an effort is still expected. And it appears that this whole team just doesn't give a shit unless it's Europa. And let alone from a storied club as big as Manchester United, but just in general, not fucking acceptable. It means the people that you're putting in don't give a shit. Like,
well, the 18-year-old kid did something, and good on him for it. You know, I mean, he relished his opportunity. It seemed, but they started a lot of people that haven't been starting. Because of where they are in the league and their league form not really mattering, they're safe, and there's absolutely no way they can catch anyone in the European spot at all. They're mathematically unable to finish in the top half of the table now on the back of this result.
Liverpool at least showed some effort in their loss.
I know. But here's the difference: is Liverpool have no other trophies to play for now. Now it's just we want to entertain our fans because we can.
Yeah, but the kids the people that are out there getting to play, getting match minutes that don't normally get match minutes. Here's your opportunity to prove to Amarin that when it's late in the fucking second half of this game of the Europa second leg semifinal, and you need somebody to come in and put a performance, I'm that guy. No one fucking showed that they were that guy.
No, because United doesn't have those guys. We're thinking of the name,
but
not the team.
Right, but that's what I'm saying even more. It's like
Amarim's a system manager, and these kids came in and played the system, and they got exactly the same result as the first teamers would have gotten and did earlier in the season. It's a shit system, is what it would seem. It's a shit system with shit players and a shit attitude.
We turn our attention to the chase for Champions League. Well, more like the clubs we give a shit about that are going for the Champions League chase. Aston Villa 1, Fulham 0, Newcastle 1, Brighton 1, Brentford 2, Forest 0, Palace 1, Forest 1.
The first half of that game, you'd claw my fucking eyes out.
Really, all four of these games don't have a lot to really talk about, so we can do this relatively quickly, but it's more talking about what this means
the storyline is absolutely.
Villa did a job. They got an early goal. They knew what they needed to do. They held on to it. They've got a good deep bench that impacts games. They saw it out. They did exactly what they needed to fucking do.
Yeah, that part's true. They managed the game much better than any other of these clubs.
All of them.
What I would say is it is disappointing between both teams, who have been fairly exciting this season, obviously.
To only manage a goal.
Well, 21 shots and only 3 on target from each. That was it. So 6 shots on target from 21 shots is just, it's not exciting. It's just not exciting at all. Yuri Tillemans, though, very brave header.
It was a great header.
The way
from
he
Yuri.
stole in there, he absolutely could have got his head ripped off.
Oh, yeah.
But it was phenomenal. And John the Ass McGinn with the corner. It was, pretty good.
Getting it in, using that ass. Now,
Taylor, listen to sound check. John McGinn shares all I'm saying is he could be presenting the weather in a certain country.
And what does need to be noted for Villa is we've already hammered this home, their depth of lineup, and now that they're not playing anything else, they can focus just on this. The schedule is pretty fucking favorable for them. Honestly, the toughest match they have is the next one they play, which is at Bournemouth. Because after that, home to Spurs and home to United. And they're going to beat both of those teams at home.
I think so as well, because they're both going to be in the Europa League final and only worried about that,
And that's all
because
they're
it
gonna
is
care
their
about.
only route to the Champions League.
Yeah. And
that's the thing. That's what I was trying to say about in the last game when we talked about that that's exactly what they're doing, right? Is Champions League football and the financial climate that we're in football is so fucking important that they are sacrificing their entire pride as a football team, both clubs in the league, so they can win the final against each other.
Yeah.
And they're both in a great position to reach the final. Tottenham a little less, giving up that late goal to Bodo Glimt, and then now having to go to the Arctic Circle and having to play on a plastic pitch. So Tottenham's looks a little less straightforward, but Manchester United takes a 3-0 lead back to Old Trafford.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one of Athletic Bilbao's better players saw red.
Yeah.
In that game, which allowed United to score the 3. So they look nailed on, obviously, to get to the final. And then you would assume Spurs have enough to get over the line against Bodo Glimt with a 2-0 win.
They should be able
That's
to.
all they fucking care about. That's the only thing they care about because they need the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need the money, and they need the prestige of being a Champions League club, or else this shitstorm of players for both teams aren't going to get fucking replaced.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to draw any better players in.
So here's the one that I want to mention because some of these teams are in and around it. Not just the teams going for Champions League, but Fulham are now in 11th place, but they're only 2 points from 8th.
Right.
And as we've talked,
Do you know who they play
8th
the rest of the season, though?
I haven't checked all of it. I know I believe they play Everton. They
I'll look it up, too. Good.
I think they
Get
play
your point.
City as well. But they're looking right at it. And as we're going to get on to, fucking Brentford now are right in it as well. Brighton are getting points at the right time. They're definitely in it too. And Bournemouth isn't out of it as well.
Everton, Brentford, and City is who Fulham play over the next 3. Those are games that I think they could get up for. Brentford's obviously a derby, and City is a showpiece game, right?
Can they get up for Everton at home? Because that's
Right. And if they
one.
drop points in that game, in my opinion,
they're out of it.
they're done.
Yeah, they're out of it.
There's no 8th place for them.
And then they're only trying to ruin Brentford's opportunity
Correct.
to get there the next week, not so much get themselves there. Moving on, absolutely deplorable first half from Newcastle. The only saving grace for them is that Brighton didn't score more goals. They looked horrible in the first half of that match.
Yeah. So what we said about Villa there was they knew the job, they knew the assignment, they did the job. It wasn't spectacular, but they got over the line and they did the job. These teams are all so very tight that I think goal difference is going to matter, and I think Villa could have turned the screw against Fulham. You come into this game, and it just looks like the latest installment of, no, I don't want to secure my European spot, the television series, because Newcastle had a fair few chances, and Minta got things going for Brighton in the 28th minute, but Newcastle started the brighter of the two sides and just couldn't finish anything. They looked tepid. They looked nervous. Fulham to an extent looked the same. I mean, after that really cool set play to kick the game off that Emi Martinez dealt with really well, I don't really see Fulham create very much.
Right.
It's just like everybody's just like, oh, what do we do with my hands? It's like everyone's trying not to lose rather than go win the game.
Now, I will say for
And
Newcastle,
this game was completely indicative of that as well.
Newcastle, as poorly as I felt they executed in the first half, they executed very well in the second half. And the only thing they just hadn't gotten until the penalty at
Was
the
an
end
actual penalty?
was an actual. Well, was a goal. Was the biggest thing. For me, I felt that was a penalty.
The third one, yes.
Yeah.
The first two,
Oh, no,
not even
no,
close.
no,
That's what I'm saying.
no.
The third time's a charm, or so they say.
Yeah. But
They weren't creating much from open play either.
I felt-
Brighton started to look fairly comfortable after a bit.
I feel the opposite. I kind of felt like Newcastle had their opportunities in the second. They just didn't get a goal. And then, so I don't feel so much like it was like a smash and grab for a point, more so than it was the goal they finally probably deserved.
Yeah.
And I only blame Brighton for not putting more in the back of the net. Brighton should have put it out of sight for Newcastle to come back.
That's what I'm saying. They had chances. What I did love, because Minta was on Newcastle's books for a bit. He looks, after he scored, he looks square at the Newcastle supporters, pats his chest, and just points at the pitch like, I fucking belong here. fuck you for letting me go. I belong
fair.
here.
You know what?
And I'm so tired of like, I get it if you were somewhere for a long time. Like
Right.
next season's Champions League,
Yeah.
Trent Alexander-Arnold scores for Real Madrid. He holds his hands up in Anfield. Fine.
Yeah.
I get that. You were there 20 years. You're only 26 years old.
Yeah.
Fine. But this dude was like, nah, y'all bitches let me go. Fucking Brighton's where it's at.
I
Eat my
you know,
balls.
exactly. It's making sure it's
Love it.
not a direct rival that you do that to and shit like. But yeah, you're right. Like in that situation, he was barely there. Like he's okay to do
you
it.
still fuck him up.
Yeah, he's okay to talk shit.
Both teams had chances to win in the closing minutes as well.
Oh, yeah,
And both
definitely.
squandered opportunities.
Bees handled Forest actually quite easily, I thought.
Yeah, they did.
A surprising shutout for the Bees.
They
That
were
was kind of more the
they were
surprising thing.
uncharacteristically sloppy in this game. Forest. There's a few times they gave the ball away. There was just a couple of things that we haven't seen much of. Obviously, Shada started his week off well on the Thursday with the header in the first goal.
I think all 3 goals were headers. I think both.
Oh, no, sorry. This one was not the header.
Okay.
This was the long ball. This was the long ball. I apologize. The route one kind of bullied the defender, stepped around and got in between Sells and the ball, and just or in between the defender and the ball, and slotted past Sells as he was rushing out. There's strong run, good finish, and then Wissa got one, had a great little chip. Was his, but it was quite comfortable for Brentford because Morton Gibbs White, there were so many misplaced passes through the midfield in Forest. They could never get going. They could never get their counterattack off.
It seems like the cheat code to beating Nuno's Forest is score first, get a quick goal, and Forest doesn't know what to do with their hands.
Well, right, and if you put because they can't play with the ball,
Right.
So if you take the lead and you can sit back and give them the ball a bit,
They don't.
they
know
can't
what to
really
do.
create much.
Yeah.
Because Alanga and Hudson-Odoi can't stretch their legs. Morton Gibbs-White can't play a pass into 35 yards of space. And Chris Wood can't bust a gut to get on the end of a cross. So without that counterattack, Forest don't really have much.
Yeah, very true. It's spot on, and it's unfortunate for them because now until today, where they got the draw, losers of 4 out of their last 5.
Yeah.
and-
So I was going to tell you, I think we can officially call this a blip.
yeah.
They've
No
not responded well
No.
at all.
And going into the final match for them, like a dead on pen for me. Sells definitely got him. I felt that was definitely
Same.
a pen, and they got it right. Ezza really tried his damnedest to fuck that penalty off. It felt
It's
like
the same thing he did at Newcastle. He just he struck the ball a bit better this time.
Yeah, just. But again, they go down a goal. Now, this time, fortunately, a set piece bailed him out. That's where they thrive on set pieces as well.
Yeah.
And Murillo gets the header for the equalizer, but
It was just a little flick. So the ball came in, got headed out kind of between them, but
Yeah, a
landed
little.
at the foot of a Forest player who took a piss poor shot.
Yep.
And Murillo just stuck a boot out and it flicked off his foot
Oh, I'm
into
sorry,
the far
the flick
corner.
with his foot. Sorry,
yeah,
my
so, but I
apologies.
have a couple of insider informations.
okay, go for it.
Breaking news broke about 2 hours ago when I saw the highlights and spoke to my au pair.
Oh, yeah?
So she went to the same school as Murillo, and they have mutual friends, and her friend actually dated him a long time ago in Brazil.
Huh.
He played for Corinthians. The other thing that I learned about Murillo is as late as this week, he showed up to Nottingham Forest training session in a Corinthians top. You don't play for them anymore. So that's funny. But I showed her, I was so excited when I saw the highlights. Obviously, I was working during the game. I ran down, knocked on her door. I said, "Hey, Julia, look, Murillo scored." She was like, "Oh, that's great." I showed her the goal, and he's expecting a child.
Uh-huh.
So he does what every footballer does. Ball goes under the shirt, thumb in the mouth, kiss your wedding ring.
Right.
Right?
Right.
What unnerved me was he took the ball out of his shirt and then punted it. I looked at Julie and I said, "Is this common in Brazil?" She said, "No." I said, "Good. Don't punch your babies." But I did find out that Julia's cousin, who is friends with Murillo's wife, was the one that suggested the baby's name, and they chose to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Serena.
Aw.
It's an S name.
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty cool?
It is very cool.
Yeah. But so my au pair's cousin named Murillo's baby is a sentence, a collection of words I never thought that I'd be able to say.
No. Well, it's that posh privilege fucking life you lead.
Fuck off, man.
Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Manchester City 1, Wolves 0, Chelsea 3, Liverpool 1, Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 1, West Ham 1, Tottenham 1. Really no surprise that City won, and really no surprise that they didn't win by a lot, because frankly, Wolves have been playing well, and Wolves played them well. But City's the better team.
It was such a boring game.
It was why it's in Osa, why
Nobody
it's not,
cared.
why it wasn't in the last segment. But now it looks pretty inevitable that this team's going to finish in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, City still don't look entirely comfortable. They still look they can get got at occasionally.
There's nobody who's going to get them though.
They're not in their free-flowing best. The schedule for the end of the season is quite kind to the citizens. Let's hope the courts that were supposed to deliver their verdict in March actually do when we all get to learn what happens. Because, in my opinion, they don't deserve a Champions League space this year. But it looks like they're going to very boringly march to one. They last couple of games, they have looked a bit more like the machine of City, albeit this is a much less exciting machine than previous iterations. Whatever.
We've said all that really needs to be said about that match. Honestly, that's all that really needs to be said.
Not good.
Honestly, with Chelsea, the Blues got lucky that they got to play Liverpool right after they were deemed champions.
Absolutely. The Blues also got lucky that Gerald Kwanzaa had one of the worst games I've seen from an individual player this entire season.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of bad luck bestowed on that young man.
Now, I will say, but outside of him, a lot, they made quite a good handful of subs. Liverpool gave him a match.
Mm-hmm. They tried. Yeah, absolutely.
That 3-1 was on a pen very late. So it wasn't like Liverpool played poorly. It was just...
No, but you also had... It really could have been 1-1 because you had Van Dijk cleared the ball into Kwanzaa. Obviously not his fault, but it's his own goal, right? And then you have he's the one that gave away the penalty, but it wasn't his fault he was in that position. It was Dominic Soboslai that fucked up.
Yeah.
That it was a very loose pass that put the Chelsea player in. I forgot who he brought down, but it gifted Chelsea that penalty in stoppage time, and you're absolutely right. The scoreline was flattering to Chelsea because really, all told, this game should have been 1-1, and we should already be done talking about it.
Yeah. The only thing I would mention that's worth mentioning for Chelsea is that this weekend, Sunday, they're doing the early game because of all of the European games going on. So there's a lot of games on Sunday. Sunday at 7, it's Newcastle and it's Chelsea. And if Chelsea does not win, Chelsea's out of the conversation.
Okay.
I would say that probably does
I could see that.
And then I would also say, too, I'm starting to think Forest is out of the conversation, too. I really think it's Newcastle, Villa, and City.
But here's the thing, because I put them in here. Forest's next game is a huge confidence builder. I put them in my bet.
They got Ipswich.
No, they have Leicester.
Oh, Leicester, that's right. Yeah,
they have Leicester. I think Vardy might hit his 200. But I think Leicester are bad enough.
Brentford goes to Ipswich.
And Forest are at home. So they're going to have the raucous crowd behind them. I think Forest could get back on track with this win and not lose any more ground.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how the rest of their season finishes, but it's entirely possible, in my opinion, that they get themselves back in order following this game.
Don't have to worry about looking it up. Next week, I'm going to have who everybody's final 2 games are,
Gotcha.
so we'll have a pretty good idea of where it goes. Also for the race for 8th place too, which again we don't know for certain will be a European spot, but it's looking pretty darn good that it will be a European spot.
Absolutely.
And hell, 9th might even still be in play as well, depending on if City win the FA Cup and not Palace.
Yeah.
The thing I have to ask you, Mr. Graham, was bottling the title not enough that you now want to bottle fucking second place?
We're not going to fall out of top 5, so it doesn't matter where we finish. It really doesn't matter where we finish, and you can see that on all of our in all of our play. To Nottingham Forest, to us, is 6 points, right? As it stands, I do see Nottingham Forest winning this weekend, as I just stated. But for us, you're looking at, obviously we got the Liverpool, we got Newcastle, but last day of the season we have our Southampton voucher, and we have a much higher goal differential. So I think we'll be just fine. Even if they make up the 6 points, I think we'll get the 3 on the last day, and I think we could probably add 5 to 7 to make sure that we at least stay 5th.
Well, I was going to say City's now only 3 behind you for second.
I don't care.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We don't have to do the qualifying bullshit anymore, really. There's none of that crap. I don't think they will catch us necessarily, although they do have Southampton while we have Liverpool.
Schedule is very favorable where for you've got Liverpool and then Newcastle, who you don't play well against.
Yeah, but I don't care because we're still in the hunt for the Champions League.
Okay.
You'd have to ask me next week after we either lose or beat PSG. If we beat PSG and we advance to the Champions League final,
you don't care.
I don't care at all. I'll finish in 5th by the skin of my nutsack.
And not care.
But 1 goal differential, tied on points. I'll finish in 5th and not give a fuck.
Right, because you got to the Champions League final.
And I have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
If if we crash out against PSG and then scupper to the end of the season in 5th place, I'd want to throw my, head against the wall.
I will say, worth mentioning, beat on a long throw that even got one Mr.
Rory Delap probably said something about it, didn't he?
Tom Tonks from fucking Tamworth and food truck fame.
Yeah.
When it put a little tweet, it was like, yeah, somebody was saying something about it, and he just found someone's tweet and just put in, yeah, it was a nice long throw, wasn't it? Tommy Tonks keeping himself relevant. I fucking love it.
Not too bad.
Mr. Long Throw.
Not too bad. Good for him. Obviously, we've got history for that.
Yeah.
Rory Delap, Liam's father, used to do that to us all the time when he played for Stoke.
Yep. Irons should have won that game. Spurs are fucking dreadful.
Spurs are dreadful. Spurs are doing the same thing Arsenal's doing and not fucking caring. Because, again, they're safe and there's no way they can finish in the top half of the table, let alone the European spots.
Right.
So all efforts are going towards Bodo Glimt and all efforts are going towards beating United in the final so they can call themselves a Champions League club next season despite finishing in 16th fucking place, probably.
Yep.
It's a little ridiculous. It's a weird quirk of the way the tournaments work now and everything else. But, with the Liverpool rule, basically, the winners being invited back for the following tournament. And if they don't qualify to the league position, they must. This is the Champions League rule.
Right.
They must enter at the first qualifying round, which Liverpool did, and then earned their spot in that Champions League that way. But it cost Everton their spot, if you remember correctly, after finishing in 4th. When Liverpool finished in 6th, I believe it was. But they won the Champions League.
But now everybody can fucking get in.
Correct. And now, also, besides that, they've added in this sort of promotion situation. So if you win the Conference League, Chelsea, you can get into the Europa League without your league position mattering. If you win the Europa League, which is why United and Tottenham are after, I've said it a few times this show, they're going to be in the Champions League next season.
Exactly.
And then whoever wins the Champions League, if they haven't finished in their positions, will get to stay in the Champions League regardless. So it's one of those now kind of weird quirks of how everything's working. What makes me more angry is the lack of effort from West Ham.
Yeah, you have a chance to finish above both of them. Wolves and us seem to be doing it just fine. Why can't you?
And well, everybody else has taken points off both of them this season, like to great effect and put in good performances. And West Ham, besides Jared Bowen's ridiculously brilliant nutmeg against Vicario, making him look every bit of the schoolboy that he is, West Ham didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah. And here's the sad part. They just had that. Who do they play next?
City, isn't it?
No, Manchester
Oh,
United.
United. Yeah.
Fucking back to back. There's the opportunity to jump them in the table, and you can't, like,
You can't do it.
come on, boys, show a little fucking pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Sure money.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you can guess.
Oh, you didn't hit.
I lost again.
Yeah, I know.
Sure did. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Down 3,300. It's almost as bad as for Bournemouth's second goal.
Mm-hmm.
The horrible Brazilian jiu-jitsu that Martin Odegaard was trying to perform on Evan Nilsson, forgetting that he was in fact Brazilian and a lot stronger.
Much stronger.
That's how piss poor my bet was. So fuck it. You go, and then I'll just whatever.
Well, I know it's time to go ahead and just throw it right on over to my protege that's handling everything. I am at now plus 503 because he'll tell you how he did. But that is, if you didn't know.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Hey, Taylor, did you know that 24.242424242424% of the time, it works 100% of the time, big boy?
I did know that only because I did the math myself in case you threw it to me. So I got you back. I can't win a fucking bet, but I got you. Well, I'm still on par with Graham, but whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, are you really like Graham? Because, see, Graham misses the first bet and then misses all the legs but one, where you missed the first bet, but then actually hit the rest of the bet.
That's still pretty fine, just going in the weekend knowing it doesn't matter what happens now. I already Grahammed it, so, But, I'm not as flexible as I used to be, but I can still grab my ankles and, let the Grammy goodness take over. Wait, that didn't sound right. Sorry. No. So, yes. So, we had frickin' Villa beating Fulham, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
Leicester, of course, scored 2 goals in the first half against Southampton. I was sitting pretty, except I was already Grammed because I didn't see the forest for the bees. So,
It's not. It's not bad.
I mean, I hadn't been that heartbroken over a bees attack since I got Macaulay Culkin at the end of My Girl.
Deep cut.
This is the worst circle jerk I've ever been a part of.
Uh-huh. Well, because you know why it is, Sam? Because both of us are doing it while making direct eye contact with you
and
while we're doing it.
It's so many dated references. It's all dog shit. I hate both of you so much.
You know what? This is your betting segment. We're dog shit. You're dog shit. It's all good, man.
I know, and the worst part is I'm about to be 39 next week. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 39 years old, and I'm the one that I'm trying to pop world keep the show relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you two will do is just throw memes from the 80s back and forth at each other, and I can't do it. Like, it's all shit from before I was born.
I like to think that the quality intelligence of our general listener knows all the references we're making.
They don't.
Thank you very much. Taylor, what do you got for us this week?
Yes. All right. So I'm sticking with the, since it's a Triple Crown season, I'm sticking with the trifecta, if you will, a three-way parlay again. This time I'm going to help myself out a little bit with some double chances, though. So 2 double chances here. Got Villa, who struggles at the Vitality. I've got Bournemouth to win or draw.
Okay. Bournemouth to win or draw over Villa.
Correct. Sorry, Mel. Happy anniversary, by the way. Anyway, I'm also going to take Wolves to get at least 1 point before they get their pints. So I've got Wolves or draw at Brighton.
Huh.
Okay.
That's interesting.
And then finally, I got City to beat Southampton because one of these fucking legs has to hit. So there we go.
All right. What will that pay out if it hits?
That 3-way parlay pays out at plus 167. So I'll get $67 of that money back to you. For you.
Very good. I like it. Very
Nice.
good. Very good. Well, I'm in the black, so it doesn't matter. I'm doing perfectly fine, unlike Graham, who completely sucks at betting.
So I'm going to have... Go on.
I was saying if Graham keeps Grahaming, we'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to half my deficit here. and I'm going to just go for it, okay? City cashed in on the Southampton coupon. No problem. We agree on that.
9-way parlay.
It's only 5. Already counted and I circled it.
I
Villa,
love circle jerk.
here's what I got. Villa beat Bournemouth.
Okay.
I've got Villa stepping up their game. Yes, they have struggled at the Vitality, but we're coming to the business end, and Unai Emery knows how to get it done. So I think Villa win at Bournemouth. You have Bournemouth draw or win, which means that is the leg that is going to propel me to absolute victory. Brentford went away to Ipswich because they're going to cash in that voucher. And Newcastle mollywop Chelsea at home, digging themselves out of this little bit of a rut and form that they're in, because Chelsea also still aren't convincing me at the moment.
Not good gambling.
And then I've got Forest to beat
Terrible with money.
Leicester, of course, and get their shit back on track. That gets me plus 1,434 on me odds. So a $100 bet will pay me 1,434 doll hairs.
By the
Still
way,
not going to catch me.
Smokey says he's younger than you, and he still gets all the references.
I don't play into this.
I'm just quoting.
Hella zesty.
He drove across country
Zesty means
twice
excited.
recently. Mm-hmm. Wants to go out there and wants to come home. They had to fill the time with something. So I assume they watched a bunch of shit from the 80s that you watched.
Taylor?
Except you just remember it from 40 years ago.
Taylor, good sir?
Yes, sir.
Have a great night.
You as well, boys.
Bye, bitch.
Peace.
That's going to wrap it up. Mr. Graham, any parting words?
No, I don't think I have any parting words this week. I didn't see much in the way of comebacks, actually.
Yeah,
There
very
was
good.
nothing really happening
All right.
this week, thank goodness.
Well, then allow me to hijack and just say one more time, Mrs. Houston, very, very happy 18th anniversary. I love spending every single day with you. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up. Next up is DU Does the EFL, where we're going to talk about the rest of English football.
It's only because he's making me work on the anniversary.
Who got
What a fucking asshole.
Oh, hold on 1 second here. We do have a D back. You for not doing your fucking shot on Malort. You cunt.
Oh.
It's sitting there right in front
I
of your
didn't even know
face.
you gave it to me. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Here you go. Bottoms up.
We're going to do DU Does EFL, which is going to be the roundup of the rest of English football. And then, of course, we will be doing injury time. Should one want to find injury time, especially right after they do a shot of Malort, how do they find it, Mr. Graham?
Patreon.com/DU Football Show. Sign up to that $5 tier, and you get all the extra content that you could ever want.
Sure, Billy has asked that we keep the feet up for EFL, so sure.
Feeling charitable. Excellent. Till next week, everybody.
Good night.
You guys are back
Hey guys.
live with people, and I have a lot of paperwork to do during the show.
Hello, fellers.
Jim wants a bagel with his coffee greenlee.
Here is the cidre for y'all.
Very good. I have to check one thing real quick. Please talk to people and Phil for a moment, please.
Hello, people.
I don't have to do a damn fucking thing.
You're wonderful. Consummate professional.
Just saying.
Consummate professional.
What are you guys going to do about it? Come over to my house and drink my whiskey?
Fair.
Oh, wait.
I'm not the one that drives the bus. You know what I mean?
I think they are coming over to the house to drink the whiskey.
I have to announce that. I forgot to announce it on Soundcheck. I have to announce that on Injury Time because I meant to do it last week, the 24th.
We've had, okay, hold on, Smoke. He goes, I really need an answer, though. How can you people of spirits and not be having tequila on Cinco de Mayo? Maybe because we started with it, and we're about to do it again.
Yep.
And I had it with dinner.
But listen, we have traditions on this show.
I've had at least 4 shots of tequila today.
And
List is done, gin starts. That's how
gin
we
binge.
ran it.
It is always fucking gin binge.
I am drinking tequila and hydrating with gin.
But I brought this, and we did sound check with it.
Yeah, and
then Houston's got that there.
And not for nothing, this one is one of the most sought after extra añejos in the market.
Apparently, excellent work with the memes already, Taylor. I haven't looked beyond the one that said you brought limes, but I have not released sound check, so that
Okay.
one is not out there yet.
Okay, very good.
I will release sound check. In fact, I can do that right now.
I brought limes. I didn't. I couldn't read it, and I was
brought
talking when you
limes.
sent it. But I love that. That's what it was for me. I brought limes.
limes.
My big fat Arsenal agenda. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, they were all about your big fat Arsenal agenda
That's
in
pretty
the
good.
chatties.
My big fat Greek wedding.
Yep, I love
Yeah,
it.
That's pretty good.
Vanger and you, of course, you're the bride.
I brought limes.
Limes.
That's brilliant.
Oh boy, yep, we were definitely just outside in the.
I missed this from Smokey yesterday. This is great. May the 4th beer with you. It's a keg, like an old school cask
I
ale
love it.
done as a R2D2.
Very good.
I like that very
Sound
much.
check 5/5/25. Weird. I'm posting sound check.
I've been doing fuck all. I still can't believe. You know what's wild? And I'm sure about to get into it. Two teams hitting 100 points. Mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy.
Oh my God. Did you see one with them, you guys together? Oh, yeah. Big Fat Arsenal Agenda. You saw that one.
Yeah. That's not us together. That's just him as the bride and Arsene Wenger as the groom.
That's what I meant.
All right. Ready when you are, Mrs. Houston.
Smokey commented, "Don't punt the baby."
Don't punt the baby. Not the baby.
Punt the baby.
Not the baby.
I'm the baby.
Not
Gotta
the
love me.
baby.
Even though we're combining
We're
two
doing
shows,
like 4 different ones.
dinosaurs and fucking South Park.
I do love the sheer amount of limes that you have in this meme is very funny.
That's an acceptable amount of limes, I feel. Gotta do fresh, baby. All right, ready?
I have no idea. I have so many windows open.
Hello, this is David Geckel from Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm a Leeds United fan. And we're back, bitches, and we're never fucking leaving.
Careful.
And you're listening to the DU Football Show.
Well, you know, they did get 100 points.
They did.
And so did Burnley, also getting 100
They
points.
did, and becoming the greatest defense in English Football League history.
You know, and yet somehow we have this sinking feeling they're going to fuck it off, right?
Oh, definitely.
Let's start the show.
100%.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Smell the Malort. Looks great in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to DU Does EFL, a completely biased brief recap of the rest of English football as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and over there, sweating with the jacket on, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. How you doing, good sir?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Good.
It is one of those weird nights, though.
Yeah, it is very weird night.
Yeah. We, for those of you that aren't near us, we have a little bit of rain going around the DMV at the moment. It's a bit gray today. When the sun went down, dropped to about 65, which in and of itself is fine and comfortable. But the rain that is coming down are very cold raindrops. And then you get that little bit of a breeze because of the storm. So then you're fucking cold all the time. So then you dress appropriately. And the second you get enough distance away from your house, rain stops. And it's just humid as fuck. And now you're way overdressed.
Welcome to Maryland weather. And, of course, on the ones and twos, Producer Mel. How you doing over there, Producer Mel?
Trying to catch up on 2 weeks of fantasy games.
Very good. All right. Well,
Oh my God. Sure Billy wants to know, can Burnley even come close to the same kind of defensive record again? The Prem and Graham gets an RT2 reference. Yay.
Well, that's a good one. The thing is
I
going to
get
be
because it came out beforehand, yes, but it's a cultural icon. Come on.
it's going to be hard for them to do again when they're going to lose their goalkeeper and both of their fucking center backs.
Yeah, and Scott Parker has already proved 3 times he can't do it in the Premier League.
Yeah, so I assume
Yeah,
no
but he
go
looks
so
good while he doesn't do it.
Listen, Brett's going to need to throw a lot of prayers up.
We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It's at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
Excellent. And for those of you who do not trust our judgment, completely fuck entirely off, we are not drinking the exact same thing we drank in the last show because it is Cinco de Mayo. We do fucking know this, and we do have a good sense. We are actually drinking a little something different. We are enjoying the Tears of La Rona. This is an extra añejo. This happens to be one of the most sought-after extra añejos in the market just because it's really, really hard to come
And
by.
one of my favorite brown liquors.
This extra añejo is aged 8 years, and it is finished in 3 separate barrels. It is finished in sherry barrels, Scotch barrels, and brandy barrels. And it is bloody motherfucking delightful. On the shelf, if you can find it, I want to say is like $3.99.
Burns the eyes, not your mouth.
Yeah, $3.99 a bottle. I want to say it is.
$3.99, like $399.
Yeah.
Oof.
If you can find it,
Right.
there's very limited release every year. They're very hard to come by.
So, do you know about La Llorona? Do you know what that is?
La Llorona.
Nope.
It's a witch.
Sure isn't. Kinda.
Yeah.
So she is the vengeful ghost of a woman that drowned her children in a body of water due to her husband's unfaithfulness, and a fit of jealous rage drowned her kids as a way to get back to him.
You know, there's at least 3 cultures that have a ghost story like that.
And now she
And then our
wanders.
culture, which has that in fucking reality.
Hey, look.
Now she wanders weepingly by bodies of water in Mexico, going, "Have you seen my babies? Have you seen my babies?" Basically.
Meanwhile, Casey Anthony goes, have you seen my shots? Have you seen my shots?
And then potentially kill your kids too.
Yeah. Yep.
Because she doesn't have hers and she can't just leave nice things be. And I found that out actually well before I knew what this was called. And so when you said that, I said, oh shit. I Googled it to make sure I got the story right.
Right.
But But yeah, I've heard of this this urban legend prior to you saying it, which is pretty good.
What I love is you very much get the brandy nose. It very much has that.
It does have that
sweet
big,
grape,
sweet
nose,
rustic.
but you get kind of that Scotch brininess in the flavor, and it finishes very dry like a sherry. Really wild.
Whoa.
Did you make a face?
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
There is a shit ton going on there.
It is. It's brandy and agave sweetness up front. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of wood. Mm-hmm. When I say rustic is a nice way of saying dusty.
Yes.
Because most people say dusty sounds like a bad trait.
Right, so you
not
say
necessarily.
rustic.
So you say rustic. It tastes like it's been in a basement, but
Yeah.
it's not astringent. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you get that off the brandy, 100% off the brandy. The easiest expression of it I've seen out there, if you want to go try an Armagnac, that is the rusticness, the dustiness that I'm talking about. I get that
Agreed.
heavily off of pretty much every Armagnac I've ever had. But brandy has the best chance of having that sort of rustic idea. That is fucking bonkers.
Mm-hmm. And you get that salinity of a Scotch,
Oh, yeah.
even a little bit of peat to it as well. And that finish is all sherry. That is an all finish sherry.
It's super dry.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Producer Mel, sorry to interrupt you one last time. Just wanted to get your thoughts because you like tequila.
I very much enjoyed this one. There's a lot going on. Every time I take a sip, I find something new in it.
Yeah.
And some of it's really hard to pin down. The sherry finish, I didn't know how to quite put that into words, but yeah, I get that.
Yeah, you get that really kind of bone dry mouth feel thing that comes with a sherry.
For sure.
Big time.
I want to, next week, I'm going to bring it in Monday. I've got, and we'll probably do it on EFL. I've got a new brand to us, came over from Winebow called J. Rieger. You ever heard of this brand?
Oh, yeah, I know Rieger.
Yeah,
very
so
well.
they do a
Kansas City whiskey. Yeah.
Yes, and that's not a thing that I knew existed.
Yeah.
And I know a lot about booze. So where most whiskeys will age in a barrel that previously contained port or sherry, in Kansas City, they're actually pouring fucking sherry into the whiskey.
Just a little bit. Yep.
So I'm very interested to see your actual take on that particular thing.
I have had the whiskey. I know it well. It is that's one of the many things Dave Pickerel had his fingertips in.
Yep.
Oh, it's phenomenal. You have to treat it for what it is. It's not what you think of an American whiskey.
Correct.
It's very different in that regards, but it's also very fucking good.
Yeah, it's wild. It's what sets that brand apart from other brands.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because the bourbon and the rye are good, but they're meh.
Yeah.
And you're looking bourbon and rye. You're looking about $32.99 on the shelf. The Kansas City whiskey is $39.99.
Yeah.
Like it's intense. It's pretty wild. I actually, I'd wonder if Taylor's seen that or heard of that around living in that part of the world.
Oh, I'm sure he probably has seen it before. But
Yeah.
And like I said, with the Tears of Lorona, it is a 1 liter bottle, and it does have
So
like a
more
fun
bang,
little
more
milk
bang
top.
for your $400.
But it is a strong if you can find it.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those holy grail kind of ones.
This isn't your normal fucking allocated shit. This isn't your Class A Azul where every store gets 2 bottles.
Yeah, it ain't like that.
This shit ain't around.
It just isn't. And they don't even really have a lower brand for
A lower
you to,
tier.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's even held more by the distributor as a gatekeeper. Like, how many 20 case drops of wine are you doing for me to get a couple of bottles of this stuff? Because they only get maybe all of. I remember when it was with Bacchus, I think 30 bottles came to market, and that was between Delaware, DC, and Maryland.
86 proof on it, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I love how they don't change shit about it for the American market either. Everything's in Spanish.
Yep, all in Spanish.
Fucking do your research or fuck off.
Yep, go to the website. They'll tell you everything you need to know about it. But other than that, yeah, It's delightful, and I thought that would be really, really fun to do for Cinco de Mayo. I was thinking about doing a mezcal originally, like doing just one of the fun ass mezcals I got, but I saw that in the back, and I was like, oh yeah, let's break out this bad boy.
What a way to celebrate Mexican Christmas. That is awesome.
All right, let's get into it, kids.
Isn't that what Cinco de Mayo is, right? See, these are nice, like. They're still heavy, but they're a little thinner, so they do a nice clink.
Mm-hmm. So, Leeds have won the championship on goal differential over Burnley. Both, as mentioned, 100 points for the year. And
that's the only thing that separates it from being an unenthusiastic hand job.
Yeah, yeah.
The goal differential winning is like, oh. Were you that good? Do you actually deserve it?
Well,
but both of you getting 100 points, absolutely you do.
And taking nothing away from Leeds, because you have to get the goal differential and everything. But then you look at Burnley. They gave up 16 goals in 44 matches.
It's wild.
They gave up 16 goals. Leeds did really good at giving up 30. And it's almost like goal differential, the better goal differential, of course, wins the league. But then you look at that and you go, for fuck's sakes, they got 100 points and they gave up 16 goals. Like, in any other world, they win the fucking league.
That's what, 46 games in a season, right?
46.
So 24
40, yeah.
So 16 divided by 46, for anybody wanting to keep track at home, is 0.347826087. So they gave up less, roughly, it's not less, excuse me. That I misspoke there. Not less. It's actually just creeping to over a third of one goal per game.
Yeah.
A third of one goal per game.
Fucking insane.
So every 3 games, there was a goal on the board for the opposition. That's fucking wild. You said Leeds was 30?
Yeah.
30 divided by 46 is also very fucking good at 2/3 of one goal per game. 0.652173913. That is remarkable. It's too bad that the Premier League doesn't operate like that. And y'all are going to find it very tough, as Daniel Farke has also proved, not just Scott Parker, that he's not so good at the Premier League topics.
Also worth mentioning for the Premier League, like the best team for goals against was Liverpool on 30. And the top 5, like the 5th is Everton at 41.
Right.
Like, again, Leeds and Burnley had less goals against. Like, both of them on their own would be completely like, this team should have won the league, right? Much like how we talked about last year, how, like, Leicester should have won the league. You could have made an argument that Ipswich should have won the league. You could have made an argument that Leeds should have won the league. You could have made an argument that Southampton should have won the league. Like, those 4 teams were so fucking good.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. And it's just it's so insane. 16 fucking goals. I mean, you know, I said this. I don't know if I said it out loud or if I just said it to you on the phone, like in a pre show meeting, that Leicester in not scoring at home in 9 straight games is a remarkable feat. It's really hard not to do. It's like that if you go play Keno and you play a 10 spot and you don't get a single number, they pay you for that.
Right.
Because it's really hard not to get a single number. Right.
Exactly.
So Leicester, by fluke, by accident, by the shit that happened in the Liverpool game with the defender clearing it off his own player,
a goal.
Something should have happened in 9 games where you scored.
Yep.
Especially at home.
Yep.
A penalty, anything. So to only give up 16 over the course of a season is in a 24-team season. A league season is just fucking incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And good luck next season when you're relegated because your squad's going to get picked off like fucking vultures.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all are going to be rich, but you're going straight back down.
Coventry beat Borough to jump over Bristol City, but Bristol City drew, which was enough for both of them to still secure playoff spots. Yep. So we go into The Blades and Bristol play each other on Monday, and Sunderland and Coventry play each other on Tuesday.
Nice. We should also mention real quick for Frank Lampard, when he took over, they were either just outside of the relegation zone or just inside the relegation zone.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Right there in it.
And the form that he's been on, this new era Neil Warnock, the one guy that knows how to get out of this league, went on a run of form that saw them fly up the table and now are in the championship spots. Or in the playoff spots rather.
The only thing I wonder
That's fucking crazy.
For both of those teams is both of those teams this season, particularly under Frank for Coventry, but also for Bristol, did dog shit against the teams above them.
Yeah.
So that's concerning going into the playoffs. But both
For
of them-
Coventry, you mean?
For Coventry, yeah, because Coventry.
Not necessarily, and I'll tell you why. Because I
Okay.
heard this wild stat today.
Okay.
There are 2 teams that have outright lost their last 5 games in English League football across the 92.
Mm-hmm.
It is Morecambe, who finished in dead last of League 2, and it is Sunderland.
Wow. Okay.
They are on one of the shittest run of forms they've had this season, period, going into the 2 most important games they will play, besides the 3rd most important game if they
Which
get
would
through
be the
these
final.
2.
Yeah. Fair. Now, to the bottom of the table, Hull drew Pompey. Now, they were beating Pompey most of the game, but Pompey got a goal at the end.
Surprisingly, it's probably a fuck all to play for.
Right. Well, it was at Pompey, too, so everybody's celebrating.
Yeah,
and shit,
fair.
probably singing Bring On the Saints and shit like that.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're fucking having a big old party.
Let's go across the harbor.
But coupled with Luton losing 5-3 at West Brom, who had nothing to play for. All Luton had to do was get a fucking point. That's all they had to do was get a point. And by the way, they were down 4-1 at one point. And that sends the Hatters down on goal differential and making them the 4th club ever to see demotions from the Premier League and the Championship in back-to-back years.
Damn, that's tough. You know, I'm not sure how they've managed their one season of Premier League funds, but you have to imagine that just the finances alone should see them come out of League One fairly easily.
You hope.
But the way they fucked this season off, who knows?
If
We said it about them when they were in the Premier League. I mean, like you said, they were down 4-1, ended up losing 5-3. They've got to show some discipline.
But here's the thing with
some
League
capacity.
One. We'll get on to what's going on with Reading, but Reading didn't make it into the playoffs. Huddersfield didn't make it into the playoffs. Bolton has been rising, and only one of Wickham, Stockport, Charlton, or the O's is going to go up, right? Wickham is a team that's always in and around the top of the of League One and occasionally goes up to the championship. Charlton is a yo-yo club between those 2 leagues. And Stockport, everybody talks about Wrexham. Stockport has done the same kind of meteoric rise that...
Yeah, but they don't have 2 Hollywood actors.
Right. And not for nothing, they won League 2 last year over Wrexham.
Yeah.
So, like,
They just don't know the story.
So not for nothing, those 4 teams are really good, and then you couple that with the Readings and Huddersfields and Boltons of the world.
Yeah, but
it ain't going to be that easy for Luton.
But look at the drop off, right? Especially financially, the drop off between the Premier League and the Championship we've already seen.
Yeah,
2 years in a row, first time it's ever happened. 2 years in a row, all 3 promoted clubs are the same 3 going down, right? Which is a problem, right? That shows the gulf in class. That's an issue. And it shows that the gap is getting bigger, right? Look at the Championship in League One. You're talking about your entire fiscal operating budget of maybe 20 to 25 million, maybe 30 million max. You have to spend probably 35 million in players to be able to challenge to get up to the Championship. And this is where you go bankrupt. So you have to double your operating budget on a mediocre TV deal and relying solely really on people coming out.
Yeah.
It's where people like Die Young go wrong, right? We've seen that. Birmingham City have just completed the highest point total in world football, period, in a single league season.
111, right?
111. And but they were Premier League for a few seasons. They yo-yoed a couple times. Went down to the Championship and were stalwarts for a few seasons, right? mid-table to playoff sort of area for a while, get relegated. And these clubs, that traditional League One clubs that have been in that league, that mid-table for ages, couldn't even come fucking close.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm.
Wrexham with the Hollywood money couldn't come close.
But that's what you worry about, is what I'm saying, right? So you could see Luton, if they get the manager correct and they hold on to a couple of players at the spine of their team, they could roll League One next season, and then you see that golf continue to grow. Yeah. You see that golf, it gets absolutely huge.
The O's are in the playoffs as they won and Reading lost. But the big thing is Dai Young will no longer be the owner of Reading Football Club. There has been an agreement made, which that will be massive for them. And they are, as you spoke about, one of those kind of clubs that, because they were stalwarts in the championship, they have the coffers. They'll be able to figure it out.
Well, they should have done, but Dai Young seems to have cleaned everything out before he left.
Well, I think the ownership group that comes in next will probably
have
take
money.
care of
Yeah,
it,
absolutely.
and will take care of that.
And, if any owner could be equated, we did this a long time ago with managers, equated to booze, Dai Young is a flaming shot of Sambuca. Just a piece of shit.
Yep.
That's only there to singe your eyebrows and cause disappointment.
We had a name for that in the nightclubs back in the day, which you can't use. I would say you probably can't use anymore.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'll tell you it off mic. So anyways, the O's are hosting Stockport on Saturday, and Wickham will be hosting Charlton on Sunday. And the big one down at the bottom of the league, Burton Albion had a game in hand, which they drew in the midweek, making it null and void for the final game of the season. Crawley and Bristol were going down no matter what. Burton Albion was safe on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's... I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for safety today. That's an old reference, Smokey. Go fuck yourself. Hope you got that one, young buck. I'm sure he has seen Harlem Nights. Oh, I named the movie too, bitch.
I would also just say that was...
That's Harlem Nights.
That's Popeye.
Pie.
What?
Yeah.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a lap dance today. That's Harlem Nights.
No,
No,
but they're making fun of Popeye. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today.
Yeah, right. But the line I said was from Harlem Nights. Eddie
Yeah,
Murphy.
but you thought that was an original line.
I didn't
from
say
Harlem
I thought it
Nights.
was an original. I said the line that I used was from that day. Potato.
Let's get to League
Sometimes
2.
the remakes are better.
Let's get to League 2, where the
Also, by the way.
Dons have won the league.
But first, we have to say we support the O's wholeheartedly in their playoff push.
Oh, yeah, big
All right,
time.
now move on.
Yeah. If it's not going to be the O's, let it be Stockport, just because
somebody
their
we haven't
meteoric
really
rise.
seen a lot. Yeah,
I would like to see that.
100%.
Dons have won League 2. Port fucking Vale came in second. Bradford
That's
City.
amazing to me.
Bradford City got the third spot, so those are all getting automatic promotion. Wassel are the top seed of the playoffs, and they finally got a win. They won the final game of the season, but it didn't matter because Bradford City got a draw, and that propelled them into third place.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Who was the fan supporting when he was making fun of Port fucking Vale from the
A Don,
stands?
an MK Don.
It was MK Dons,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, by their own standards, this is a meteoric rise as well for Port fucking Vale.
For Port fucking Vale.
And MK Dons can fuck off anyway.
Uh-huh. Exactly, because we don't like them.
No, we don't like them at all because of the manner in which they left Wimbledon and their owner leaving that area in shambles.
Chesterfield beat Aki to jump over Salford, who drew already relegated out of the Professional League Carlisle to take the final playoff spot.
Nice.
So
I don't mind this because I really don't like Salford City. I think isn't like Paul Scholes part owner in Salford City?
Yeah, they were a team that's only been around since the 90s, and they basically bought a club and made a club in a city that they just pumped a bunch of money into and shot them right up the league quickly.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of the old United boys, I think, that are in on that project, part of the whole class of 92. But the weird bit is Paul Scholes bites his daughter's toenails, and that's common knowledge amongst a lot of people. and I just can't be having that.
No, that's kind of
That's
wrong.
gross.
I don't like that.
It's weird.
We have Notts will host Wimbledon on Saturday, and Chesterfield will host Wassel on Sunday.
Now, what we need, though, is the real AFC Wimbledon, who MK Don is from Wimbledon. They left Wimbledon and left the area, the stadium, everything else in tatters, moved to Milton Keynes, stole the club, essentially.
Yep.
And then a fan-funded kind of thing popped up in its spot. I don't know if I have the story entirely correctly, but that's the nuts and bolts of that. And we want AFC Wimbledon to do well because that is the club of the people of Wimbledon, period.
Absolutely. That's pretty much who I'm rooting for. I don't feel like Wassel deserves to get the promotion, especially considering they had that 12-point lead in February and then completely fucked it off.
No, and fucks Alford as well.
And in the National League, Barnett have already gained promotion. Now, they have changed how they do things.
Great. Perfect.
Top seed.
Just what we need.
Top seed gets automatic promotion.
Okay.
Second and third get a bye of the playoff from the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
Fourth place, seventh, fifth place, sixth. The winners play second and third in the semifinals. Then those winners play each other in the final.
I kind of like that.
The idea is to give more teams an opportunity because only 2 teams get promoted.
Fall asleep there.
Yeah. So that is
That's how exciting this chat is.
That is why they changed it. And I think that's fair. I don't disagree with only 2 teams going down out of League 2.
No, not me
I
either.
think it should be hard. Like it should
To get into the league, absolutely.
it should be
100%.
very hard to get into the league. And if you go down, you have to face the toils of being in the National League.
To not further create more gulfs, there should be a route into the league and a fairly attainable route.
Yeah.
But it should also be special to be in league football and be a proper professional club.
If you overextend yourself and you overspend and you get into 7th place, you used to not even get an opportunity. It was basically second played 5th, third played 4th, and everybody
that was
else
it.
could
Yeah,
fuck off.
right. No, exactly.
So this way, at least you have
More
a
clubs
chance
are included. Yes.
to win and advance, which
Also,
is
love
fair.
this happens right after 2 Americans come in and change the whole thing. Like that a
Very
lot.
true. All right, that's going to wrap it up, Mr. Graham. Any parting words?
I do not have any parting words, although, except for rather that it was another exhilarating season in the English Football League. A lot of very cool stuff happened as we just went over, and very, very fucking excited to see what the lower leagues have to offer us next season.
Yep. And next week, there will not be an EFL show. We're going to wait till after the playoffs are done.
Yeah, and then we'll also have the FA Cup final will be included in the EFL show as well, which I'm not even sure of the date, to be honest with you, at the moment. Is it FA Cup final's on my birthday, isn't it?
17th, yep.
Yeah.
And then the 18th, there's games. And then the following week, there is the finals.
Carly, so we're going out to dinner the night before on the 16th. Carly said, she was like, what do you want for your birthday lunch? I'm not doing anything like crazy, but what do you want for your... I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll just say the last little bit of football.
Yeah. Just give me a little football.
Little FA Cup final.
That's all I need. Thank you very much.
Little as a penalty to win it.
Love it. All right, everybody.
mind that.
Next up is Injury Time, where we're going to go over the beers we've been drinking, talk about fantasy, check in on our adopted club, and, of course, preview the weekend's action. Mr. Graham, should somebody want to go, how about doing that? How do they do that? Yeah, I got through it.
All right.
It wasn't good, but
All right,
what I
Fred
did was,
Flintstone, hold on, I'll tell you.
I fought my way through that asshole.
You do your way over to patreon.com/team football show. Sign up to that $5 tier, and you can get all the brontosaurus you want, my friend.
Gus, why you make the fire so big? We're not eating brontosaurus burgers. We're eating burgers and Franks. Look at Charlie over there with 3rd-degree burns eating a Frank. Because you make the fire too big, Gus. You make the fire too big. Till next week, everybody. Wilma.